got close to editors, teach me how to use script. Fast forward, there was no one reading news one afternoon, and they told me, you're going to read news. I hadn't even done that before. Actually, the day before, in 2010, there was a bomb blast, and we're all watching soccer there. Now I'm a reporter. I've never been in studio. I get there, and they tell me, the late Patrick Luandaga held my hand. He told me, son, bombs have gone off. You're going to break the news on TV. I'm like, no. It's like, you are going to. I don't have anyone here. You're going to. I remember I was in a checked shirt. Normally, I don't like combing my hair that time. So I go on TV over a green screen. I don't know. I see all these cameras, lights, and they just tell me, stand by. I'm like, what? Stand by. I'm like, what am I going to say? Like, just say bombs have gone off 20 times. It's okay, on air. We interrupt normal programming to bring you breaking news. Bombs have gone off. Call your friends, relatives. I started blabbering in 2010. I got that video recently and I looked at it and I laughed at myself. But that was my moment, because the next day, everyone was watching UBC. And everyone's like, this boy, this boy, this boy. I started doing journalism, started doing stories. And then I got an opportunity to be on the big screens to read news. Before I knew it, NTV spotted me. NTV called me because I had mastered my art. Now, the challenge was coming to NTV when they already the big boys, the Maurice Mugishas, the Rosemary Nankapitwas, the Michael Balekes, the Chris Ochamringa, Maurice Ochos, all these are big names. And I'm coming up and I have to actually show that I am good at this. I have a point to prove. So I would go for where other people feared to go. So I started creating my niche in doing difficult things. And there's always space when you go to do the things that everyone doesn't want to do. So I took on doing, stories around analysis. I started doing investigative stories at that time. People who never wanted to do these things. And I started, reporting, and I would every time there was a hard story, like, Solomon will do that. So I took it up. Then I started going and doing the hard things and mastering my craft. I started learning better. Again, there was no someone to read news one day. So Joe Munene at that moment told me, can you go in studio and, we do a dry run. There's no one reading news and we go. And I am there. It was like a screen test. Joe Munene told me after the dry run, is like, you're doing news at 1 o'clock. Like, on NTV? Whoa. Am I really going to be news? Like, yeah, over to you. Now, lights, cameras, NTV is big, and I'm there and I'm just saying, God help me. Don't let me fall, please. So I went and did this thing and I did it well. And as I elevated to a news anchor and then started doing real stories. And, one of the things that really has helped me grow, of course, the rest is that then NBS spots me and I go, and then KTN, then BBC, and then, I'm running all over, and everyone thinks of me as the biggest journalist in Africa after the BBC Komla Dumu Award and winning. I have 28 awards with my name written on them, and I'm really happy that I have gone through. But one of the things that really has shaped my skill set, even up to now, that I can never go hungry, is what I got at NTV. At NTV, whilst other reporters wanted to be in suits and not to hold tripods and cameras, I would go with the cameraman and hold tripods. So I learned how to film. I learned how to switch on a camera, wide balance it, manage the shutter speeds. I learned how to do lighting of this, for example, this room. I learned how to manage audio. I learned how to do video editing using Final Cut and Adobe Premiere Pro. I learned After Effects graphics. I learned these skills, right? These skills. So right now I'm not in television, but the institute where I work for, we have procured cameras and equipment. Before I came here, I was at the Kampala Serena and we were working on something. It was at Serena Chigo today, and the cameraman who was supposed to man the second camera wasn't around. I just switched on the camera and started taking images and taking footage, and everyone's like, "So you also do?" I'm like, "Yeah, Of course, I do this. It's a skill set. I have it. No one is going to steal it away from me. And I can sit on that iMac, open up Premiere Pro and After Effects and do these things, and I'll earn from them. So having a skill and mastering it is very, very important because it's part of production. Michael, that's my story. I'm the moderator here. Yeah. But yeah, so answering the question is, does your skill count? I think it does. But let's talk about the component of having the skill and marketing and branding that skill. How important is it, Michael?
I feel like that was Flavia's question, but then again,
You talked about branding. You know, there's
yeah,
there's a brand called Michael Woman, right?
yes,
Yeah.
it's okay. Um, so in
You have the skill.
yes,
How do you actually put it out there?
yeah, I'll talk probably from the angle of entertainment. Entertainment, not necessarily just music, maybe entertainment at large, and maybe it could go up to sports perhaps and things like that. There's a great percentage that talent and skill contribute to the entire package, but there's an even bigger percentage that involves branding, brand awareness, marketing. When you have those wrong, you'll definitely not hit your target, because there's people out there that are probably more talented than I am. There's probably soccer players out there that could probably dribble their way through the whole pitch better than the people that we know. There's maybe greater vocalists out there in the US that sing better than the ones we know right now. But if you only sing for yourself in the bathroom or in the bedroom, you're your only fan. That's how big you are. You've basically stopped at the level of talent and skill. You don't put it out there. So there's a whole other question of branding. Who are you? If you walk down the street, somebody can identify that's Solomon. Solomon Seranji. Yeah, I know him. That means you're already a brand. But depending on the number of people that know you, that's the question of brand awareness. Now, how aggressively you market and put yourself out there is really up to you now. That will help us know how far you'll hit your target. Because there's many other Solomons out there. But why do we know this Solomon? You understand that there's a part of the branding, then creating the brand awareness, then consistent marketing. Because like Flavia is talking about a company like Coca-Cola. It's been around for over 126 years or something like that. 130. But you'll still find billboards. You were driving home and you didn't know what to do, and then you see a billboard. Take a cold Coca-Cola. You didn't want probably, but the, it's in your face. And you stop at the next supermarket and ask for one. You're still marketing over time. But when you get comfortable and think, now my skill and my talent are at this point, I can sleep. Once you start sleeping, then you go down the trail. Yes, there's no comfort zone. Once you hit the comfort zone, the only way is now going down. You're not going to stay there. It's even worse than that. You're not going to stay. Once you get comfortable, you don't stay where you were. You not only not go up, but you don't stay. You just keep going down. So there's the branding element, brand awareness, and marketing. So skill counts a lot, yes, but there's other components. Yeah.
Wow. Um, Flavia, you want to continue from where he left it? You may have the skill, but if you don't market it or brand yourself better, then Michael says you don't even stay where you are, you start to sink.
I agree. I agree. And interestingly, I'm a great at marketing brands, but I may not give you the formula for marketing your skill, because I believe that, how we say you can't light a candle and hide it under the table. I personally believe when you have a skill and you have demonstrated, you have the ability to demonstrate your skill, it will market you. You don't have to go out telling people you are a great marketer, you are great at influencing. They see it. They see it in your output. They see it in your work. They see it whether you're an employee, whether you're a supplier, assuming you're a businessman, your clients will sell you. if you're a good supplier as an employee. And I say that based on my person, and I've gotten feedback. I'm not great at selling what I have, but I can show you that I've been able to go through the ranks through referrals. I've not gone out to look for a job, but I've been able to change jobs. I've been able to grow up to where I am because people see your work. And I personally honestly believe you just need to focus on having the best output, and your output will sell you. So it's more or less a reverse. My work, as a result of my skill, should be able to position me for the next level. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Um, I agree with you, and I think you go to where I wanted us to go to. Our skill. How important is it for us to perfect our skill? Because if Michael Uma hits that note that will get me up and start shouting, there's that bit about I wait for that thing about Michael Uma that Michael Uma only can do. That if you're booking people and Michael Uma tells you, I am going to be busy that day, that it is worth pushing your event because of Michael Uma. You know what I mean? That it's only Michael Uma who can do it. Like, who can really, really do it. So if he's busy that day, let's push that day forward until when we can actually get a slot with him. That perfecting our skill, Michael, is what I want you to talk to us about.
Um, I think that's a very, 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 very important thing, because there's many people out there that get lost in the wind, in the sense that you're very replaceable. I know when it comes to formal employment, many people's jobs, especially the job title. There's the admin, there's so and so. But there's a point that it gets to when your job title is almost synonymous with you, whereby replacing you is almost next to impossible, in the sense that you've almost personalized what you do. And it brings us to what Flavia's point was, where you've harnessed certain skills and done things to an extent that people market you themselves, but it's because of how much more you went beyond what you expected to do. You probably meant to give in 8 hours, but there's certain 1 hour before that you need, probably early morning, like come in probably earlier and set your target for the day. So by the time the day is done, there's certain targets that you've hit, and you've hit them like way, way, way higher. And even the way you do them is is in a certain way that without Solomon, this can't work. So it comes down to how far you want to go. If you want to hit the sky, that's how high you're gonna aim. But if all you see is the ceiling, the next ceiling, when you get to the ceiling, that's it. I'm getting paid. I come here, I do my 8 to 5 job. It's okay. Well, next time we'll replace you if we find someone that's hitting the roof. You get. But if you keep hitting targets, reach a certain point and even feel like we're underpaying you, because you've made this your thing and you're doing it to the best of your ability. That's what the Bible says as well. Whatever you put your hands to, do it with the best of your ability. So if you're not going to do that, then you don't say you're wasting time, but you're hitting under capacity. So yeah, I would advise everybody, basically, if you set out to do anything, whatever it is, even if it's not necessarily your job that brings money, even if it's just being a sibling, if it's just being a parent, if it's just being um, a son or a daughter, being a friend, or whatever it is in life that you're doing, if you do it like extremely, like to the best of your ability, there's something else that will come out of it. And you never know that it may even be just your passion and later on become something that's monetized. Like I said, music for me was just passion. Then later I traveled and then I found that people monetize it. I'm like, how can I get paid to do what I enjoy? So I was basically working on my skill and improving it, and doing it so well brought me to where I am now. So it becomes a brand. Someone says, I need Michael at my event. And there's something about it. It's because you've taken time. It's beyond talent.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm talented, but how much more can I do to make sure I'm excellent and I'm giving you 100% of who I am?
Flavia, you had that. Michael, thank you. Um, and I think it goes to the time of investment in your skill. There is a photojournalist, he's called, and I always refer to him, he's called Stewart Tibaweswa. He goes by his his name Tibbs. I work with him at the institute, and I told him, man, I don't see you going out to take pictures so many times. He told me, because I'm not your usual photographer, I spend 70% of my time reading and researching on photography. I was like, what? I'm like, yeah. I study angles, I study lighting. He has won so many awards, including the most recent Uganda Photo Press Association award, Stewart Tibaweswa, with his project on aging on the lake. He did a project. He told me, I invest time in reading and crafting my art. This is where other people don't go. They think just going out to take photographs is just enough. I do an extra, I take an extra mile of investing in reading photography so that I can better my skill. Flavia, how important is it for all of us who have skill, whether it's in camera work, whether it's in, the guitar or singing or selling or marketing, how important is it for us to actually take some time and invest in improving our skills so that we can achieve our full potential?
It's critical for us to invest in our skills. When you talk about Tibbs, I was thinking he's actually found his niche and decided to go deeper, invest in the depth of that particular niche. It depends on what you're doing. I'm in leadership. And like I said, for me, it's critical that I invest in skills that make me a great leader, And as a leader, and if I think about my entire journey, right from the sales rep, at every level, you actually need different skills. You need to get your skills deeper and even get newer skills, because the skills you need as a salesperson are different from the skills you need as a leader of salespeople. And that's why it's very important to be relevant for the moment and for the season, and to always learn and understand. And it comes with a lot of self-awareness. That's why it becomes very important to know yourself as a person. You need to understand, what are you great at? And once you found your niche, as like I said, I could possibly have said, let me go to HR. I've done an amazing job in HR, but I knew my home is in sales, because that's where I've nurtured my skills. And I said, no, I'm going back to sales, because that's really 20 years. What I've done is invest in myself in sales and marketing type of skills. So it's very important. It's critical. And when you talk about wealth creation, I think about it every level. You're actually using your skill and adding value. So ultimately, my skill is what determines my value. Yeah.
Say that again, Flavia, because I
My
think I agree
skill,
with you.
my skill or my skills, I believe actually it's skills, is what determines my value. So when I come and there's a job opportunity, what I'm selling to is my skills. You're actually paying for my skills, you know? So the more I have sharpened my skills and I become exceptional, the more price you have to pay. So then, at whatever level, sharpen your skills, be the best, and continue to add on and to grow, because that is also equal to your paycheck, it's equal to your bargaining power. And that's why I'm saying it's critical. Everybody can be a marketer, everybody can be a salesperson. So, what makes me stand out? And that's what I need to look for. And that's what I need to specialize and say, you know what, when looking for two marketers or two salespeople, what makes you choose me over someone else? We're many. So, what value am I commanding? And that depends on how much have I invested and how much am I investing in my skills. And it's a continuous process, it never ends. I'm looking for the next opportunity, So I have to continue to grow the skills of leadership that I'm looking for. And that's what keeps giving me a higher bargaining power.
I just love you, don't I? when you talked about investing in yourself, that's deep. Some people think, and you talked about when we were starting, that having a skill or talent that you don't nurture and better, you're going to be out edged. This, for example, I'm into this investigative journalism career. So before, we used to use tactics like secret filming. You go and film someone secretly. That is moving away. We are now into open source investigation, using artificial intelligence, using the new software. Guys have, if you guys have watched investigative documentaries like The Anatomy of a Killing by the BBC, The Game of Drones by the BBC, they are using the latest software and skill to do investigative journalism. So if I am going to just stay the same investigative journalist that I was while I was still at UBC or NTV, then everything is changing. I have to adopt to the new skill and better myself in that, so that I am able to stay above others. That if you're looking for an investigative journalist, I'll come to you with an extra skill of open source investigations, and therefore you can actually pay for my value. Whoa, that's deep.
Actually, something I forgot. Well, it wasn't necessarily what you asked about, but I thought we could talk about it as well, because there's people that have been employed based on their degree and or diploma or their masters at that level, and then you stayed at the same job for a couple of years, and then what you studied then was relevant and could work well to get you that job and to get you to do the tasks before you. But if you don't reinvent yourself or try to upgrade your skills, then at a certain point, if I asked you, say, to reapply for a job after 10 years, based on your qualification, you may not get the job, because yes, you're qualified and the job says a master's degree in this master, but your master's degree was relevant as per 2005. And what's happened up to 2020, between then and now, is something else altogether. So if you've not been reinventing yourself or upgrading or learning what's going on, somebody with a skill set could probably get the job easier than you that's actually qualified as per the advertisement. Yeah.
Thank you. Apollo, I'm looking at you. You came on the podium.
Yes, yes, yes. Solomon, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Michael, thank you so much. Flavia, I am getting jealous here and people are saying things. Flavia, thank you so much for that inspirational story. Solomon, you bring spice to the story. They thank you so much. And they are thanking Michael for having taken up the role of the moderator. They would not have gotten that. And they're saying, thank you so much, Michael. And someone is actually saying, hey, he has even thrown away the mic and is looking on and being a very attentive listener. Thank you so much, Michael, for bringing that out of Solomon. There is so much that is happening here on social media, and everyone is really, 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 really coming out and appreciating you guys. Thank you so much. Value. Flavia has mentioned about value, and it keeps coming up here that your skill is your value. And I think I also alluded to the bit and asked you, could you actually appoint yourself if you were employing someone right now? Could you employ yourself? And we left that to you. I want to just share, now that you have known that the audience now has a bit of you, let me just get to know what the audience is, just to share with you. I'll ask my back office team to just post again that first poll. Poll 2, yes, poll 2 is saying, in my employment journey, in your employment journey, which of the following have you found relevant on top of your academic qualifications? On top of your academic qualifications, which of the following have you found relevant? Communication skills, writing skills, presentation skills, talking skills, negotiation skills, others. Which of the following? Just pick out one, and the other one is saying, if in your professional experience, which of the following has proved most relevant in the execution of your role? 1, Nothing has proved relevant. 2, my academic qualification. 3, um, my professional qualification. 4, my networks. 5, my skills and expertise. Just let us know so that we see that you are following. Just take off some time, and in 1, 2, 3, 0, let's end that, and we provide that. We really want to understand, what do you call relevant? Solomon, and this you're going to use in your next in-depth coverage of these two panelists here. People feel like in their employment journey that communication skills is the most relevant. Communication skills, with 68% of them saying it is over and above my academic qualifications. This has brought me money. Writing has 6%. Presentation skills has 11%. Talking has 3%. I think that's where you are in that niche alone. And negotiation skills has 13%. That is the our listeners there out there listening to us. In your professional experience, which of the following has proved most relevant? Most relevant in execution of your role? Expertise and subject matter skill is the most popular, with over 80% of the people saying that has proved most relevant. Academic qualification, 11%. There is a 3% that are saying it's none. Nothing has proved relevant in my. Then professional qualifications, there's a 25%. So there you have it. That's what the public is saying. If you could be kind enough and post poll question 1 again, we just need to understand to just become relevant to this poll question. Just recast it again and we poll it again. Poll question 1, we just needed to understand who we are. If you're kind enough, Jackie, poll question 1. The people you are speaking to, 62% are males, 38% are females. The majority of our viewers and listeners, 37% of them are between 30 to 40 years. 24% is between 40 to 50 years. Between 20 to 30 years, it's a 30%. And above 50 is 2%. So there you have it. That's the audience you are speaking to. Solomon, carry it away.
All right, thank you. Communication skills, talking skills, writing skills. Let's get. We'll talk about that in just a while. But I wanted us to conclude on the aspect of marketing your skill. I want to go back to it, especially you can have a good skill out there, and you are saying if you're a good musician and you're singing in the bathroom, you're your own fan. So how do you put your skill out there, especially in the digital age, right? How are you able to market yourself, and so that the world can see you? It's a global village that someone in Taipei, someone in Kuala Lumpur can still know a Michael Uma, and maybe they want to do a song and they're like, oh, there's this guy we just saw, can we actually fly him in to help us on this project? How can we be able to market our skill set to the world to see? Michael, then I can come to fly.
Okay. So I'll approach it again from the musical angle, as you said. Um, well, for us, before this whole COVID situation, um, most of our income, direct income, was either from sale of merchandise directly to the people, to the audience, and physical performances, tours, and things like that. So at that point, lots of people were a bit comfortable with the fact that there's an option of physical interaction. So they didn't really tap into the digital market. And then there came COVID. I can't say I necessarily thank God for COVID as the disease. Yes. But the COVID After Effect helped many creatives understand different ways of marketing what they have to offer and different platforms of how you can sell your goods and services. So you're asking, how does one move from being the greatest singer for themselves in the bathroom or in the bedroom to being a star? It's a long process. One, which is the fundamental at the start, is developing your skill, moving beyond just the talent and trying to craft it and see that it's great, which is practice over time for whatever it is, whether it's sports or music or whatever other discipline it is. If you do it over time, you get better. You learn more. You make mistakes, fall, and then stand up again. And then there's also researching, finding out how the person before you that was into that did it. What did they do wrong, and how did they stand up and find their way again? And then you learn what to do and what not to do. So if I'm to speak from a creative's angle, then you're probably going to go to the place where you can create it. If it's theater, you go to the theater and meet and see how you're going to get your drama together, or probably to studio if it's a musician. And now this is getting the product. Now, when you get that product, you've got to know how to market it. Now we're in a COVID era and going to a post-COVID era. There's going to be later on a balance between physical and virtual. So you've got to, let me say, buy a plot in the virtual world and also be relevant in the physical. Yes, set up a store, but like have a footprint there so that if I search for a one Michael Woman, he's relevant. You're Googleable. So what if someone says there's a certain chap in East Africa, he's doing something magnificent. Oh, what's his name? Okay. So if I find out where he is, what is he doing, what's he done before, there's a portfolio of sorts. There's things that you've done. So even if you're not necessarily loved in Somalia, someone in Brazil could love your music because it's now a global village. So if you put it out there, somebody's going to like it. But if you find the people that like it, because then you're going to do statistics of finding out which continent prefers my music, what kind of music is there, how relevant am I to them. So how do I tap into what they have? Probably there's a language barrier, but I could maybe sync with them in terms of genre. So to cut the long story short, it's finding out where your niche is and who loves what you have to offer. And then you offer it over and over again until you become a household name. And then I can't run away from you. It gets to the point where I'd say, if Solomon can't be at this event, we're going to postpone it because he has to be there. So you've almost become a part of it. Without you, it's not going to work. Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting. I love what you said, that you go into this virtual space, buy a piece of land, and then set up a store there, and then market your product. Flavia, I'll tell you as I come to you. There's so many skilled people who go on Facebook to post bana indi kulusania, before meets after, with the whole fish and then bones after. That when you go and look at their timeline, it doesn't reflect their skill set. And I know that people have thought that social media should be social, but it should also be a platform. I mean, it's a market of over a billion people online who are on Twitter every day, who are on Facebook, who go to Instagram. So even what you post about you on your social media accounts must reflect your skill set, and there must be a deliberate move for you to market yourself that way, even on the socials, so that you don't just put before meets after, Lusania full, and then bones next to it after. But yeah, so I just wanted you to overemphasize how it is important, Flavia, for us to market our skills deliberately. Like like personal deliberate effort to market our skill set for us to be able to get people are interested in our work, especially in this global village.
Great. And I know that I'm talking to people out there. It could be skilled in carpentry, they could be interior designers, and they're wondering, how do I actually get this skill out of my courtyard to the outside world? And it's very critical to get your product to be known. So I totally agree with the social media, using the digital platforms. They are free, they're available, use them. Like you said, make sure that you're selling your product. I've seen many people are selling their products on Instagram, on Twitter, but they're few. Most people don't even know how to use those kind of social media platforms, that they are very important. Most of us are on those platforms. So definitely very important to use the platforms, but also very, very important. I'm one person who totally believes in customer obsession. So as somebody out there, whatever you're doing, whether you're working on those curtains, whether you're working on those chairs, whether you're a tailor, whatever the skill you have chosen, be obsessed about your customers, because as an excited and happy customer will bring you many more customers.
Wow.
And I think that's where we lack, as especially, I don't know, maybe it's purely an issue we find in Uganda, that we actually really struggle to meet our expectations and we disappoint our clients. So customer obsession, if all of us can be obsessed about our customers and purpose to please and excite our customers every single day, live to our commitments, I think for me that's the best advertisement you can have, because I'll bring you more over and over again. So being totally a person of integrity and delivering your commitment all
Flavia,
the
I
time.
just want you to go back a little bit and say this again, because I think it's deep. Customer obsession.
Yes,
Please say it
yes.
again.
Customer obsession. Some of us call it customer centric, but obsession is the ultimate. And it's one of the things that we're really driving hard at CCBA Uganda. And I feel, talking to every single person out there, that it is one thing that will get you out there and get you to shine and get you to get referrals. People will call you that you don't expect, just because you did an exceptional job and you did an amazing output for somebody. So every client you have, whether it's one or two, how well are you serving them? That for me is the best advertising, referral. And I've seen that work really well for people who are in carpentry, people who are into. I have a friend who is into stone, adding beauty to the stones, And I've seen he's not advertising much, but because of the exceptional work he's doing, there are all kinds of customers that are coming to see him because they have seen a house and they said, "Who did that work?" And I think for me, that's the best way to sell yourself. If Oma has a concert and say, you know what, you have to send this guy, you have to bring him for your function, for your corporate function or wedding, that referral is critical. So don't waste any opportunity in your life. So the issue of social wealth, we talk about financial wealth, but social wealth is for me very critical. Building the right networks, but also being exceptional at your customer service. Don't take customers for granted, because they actually have to vote with their money.
Listen, I am really glad I came. I am really glad that I came and I am listening. On Friday last week, I saw a beautiful, set on Instagram, and a Ugandan probably paid, and so as you're scrolling through, you can see sponsored, and then you look at a beautiful coffee set. And this lady has said, well, we've slashed the figure from 500 to about 390. So I said, well, I love this set. Part of what I do away from journalism is interior designing. Yeah, I just do it out of passion, out of love. So I go into people's homes, disorganize them, and set them up again. So I say, I want this. So I paid half of the money, and the person started working on it. And then they delivered it, and it was a complete different item in terms of the angles where they join to. You would see a real Ugandan product. And I'm sorry to say Ugandan, because we have a problem with finishing. So you would see they did not do the finishing properly. The gold coating had started cracking. I'm like, this is just new. So I called her. I'm like, first of all, I'm really disappointed in your product. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. It's not worth my money. And I was mad. So because this lady was so much focused on marketing, she didn't even look at the product they gave me. So she looks at it as an opportunity. She has sold, so I have given in the money, and she said the production guys to produce and deliver. She didn't look at the product they were coming to me with. And so she missed what you're talking about, customer obsession, by doing something best. So I call her. She's like, I'm sending someone, you're going to send that thing back. So I sent it back, and she called me. She's like, my goodness, what is this thing that they had given you? I said, yeah, exactly that. It is not what I expected.
It's not for lack of skill.
It's not for lack of
They did
skill.
not lack the skill. They just did not pay attention to actually please their customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she told me, I am here supervising the remake of this thing, and I am personally going to deliver it to you. So she corrected all the mistakes, like she redid the whole set, and she came in her car and she said, sir, here is your set. I'm like, now this is what I was looking for. And she's like, I mind about customer satisfaction, but I'm like, but you didn't even know what they gave me. And therefore, I was actually not going to refer to the next person to you. So when you were talking about, Flavia, when you were talking about customer satisfaction as a tool of marketing and customer obsession, that sank in. And I'm really grateful. I'm learning as much as I can. And I'm really, really happy. Our time is fast spent. I'm sure about we have about 20 minutes to get out of this place. So we will use our 20 minutes to go. Where do we go from here? What can we tell people out there on how, what's our wrap up session like, so that we can encourage people out there who have a skill. I have had, maybe we could also revisit the conversation around our curriculum. And I think we had this conversation before we came on air. The aspect of our curriculum being tailored so much on the theoretical, and all of us growing, knowing that if you leave secondary and you don't go to university and you go and start metal fabrication, that it's bad, you're a failure. That when you go and start doing carpentry, you're actually a failure. That if you go and start learning how to do mechanics and start fixing people's cars, then we are failures. And we've seen that in a way has demoralized so many people, that if your daughter right now say, daddy, I'll give you a short story before I can call both of you. There is one of the richest people in this town I know. The daughter came and said, I want to do tailoring because this is what I love. The father refused. They sent her, she did medicine. After 5 years, she comes back and tells daddy, buy me a sewing machine. This is what I want. The dad said, I'm going to get you a job in one of the biggest hospitals. She said, that is not what I want. I want to sew. She looked for money. She bought a sewing machine. She's now occupying the garage. She goes and buys bitenge and fabric. She's now started getting customers. She's actually selling designs. She's sewing, literally. This is a graduate of medicine. And that goes to speak to our mindset. As a country, we've always been thinking that skilling, the skill set that we need to be nurturing and growing, is actually one for a failed community. And I think there needs to be a mindset shift in the way we think about skilling, especially in our education curriculum. Michael.
Wow. This is a very deep topic. So I like to approach it from the angle of sort of like the end justifies the means, in the sense that we're discussing skill and harnessing wealth. And wealth has more components than just financial wealth, because there's financial wealth, social wealth, there's time wealth, and health wealth. Now, all these components, to me, I see them as an end, because we're doing everything in life so we can have what we would term as the best life. You feel like at the end of your life you succeeded. When you ask someone to define what the success is, anyway, for some people it's how well society views them. For some people, it's how much money they got over time. For some people, it's how well they enjoyed their lives by visiting different places on earth and having a great time. For some people, it's because they are maybe very healthy and they feel like I'm probably 60 or 70, but I can still run. I can still enjoy my life. I can still enjoy my mind. So people may see it differently. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say for me, the end justifies the means. What am I driving to? Um, you probably want to reach a time in life where you've amassed wealth to an extent that you don't necessarily have to work to get money, because then that's riches. When you have wealth, your money is working for you. So to get to that point, you probably worked quite hard in the prime of your life. You've given your all. Now, to give your all, you either doing something that you're very skilled in or something that you love, and you probably give even extra hours and do it so well that you earn from it quite well. Now, when I come back down, because I'm moving from the end back to the start, in order for you to do that, you have to have trained in that. So what you study is going to lead you to what you're going to work in, what you study, the skills you're getting. So if the skill set we're giving to the children in school is not giving them anything that's relevant in the marketplace, then someone gets into the marketplace and he's starting to study afresh. You've spent about 20 years in formal school, and then you get to the workplace and you're basically starting afresh. You're learning how to work with others. You're learning that how that skill is actually meant to be relevant in the marketplace, but all you were taught about is bukuku the gatekeeper, and you're asking yourself how bukuku is relevant in whatever else you're going to do in life. You get, so there's these could be nice stories that were told and so on that were probably relevant in the 80s or 60s or I don't know when, but the world is leaving us behind if we maintain the curriculum that is just theoretical, and also if it's based on what people used and was relevant then, because this is becoming it's evolving every time. Every time there's a new development or a new discovery, that has to be updated in the curriculum, so that by now children are learning things from a tender age that are going to help them learn how to network, learn how to work as a team, learn what's relevant now, learn the actual current affairs, because you'll find people studying current affairs and they're still studying about current affairs that was current to us. That's history. So it could just be added to the history paper. You get. So my point is, at the end of the day, we're all looking for a point in life where we are wealthy, both in terms of time. I have enough money, I can just chill. My money can make money. I'm wealthy in terms of finance. I've amassed enough capital and assets. I'm wealthy in terms of health, whereby I have enough time to do the to go to the gym. I can stroll. I can maybe play soccer. I can do anything, because I've reached that point in life where I feel successful in terms of wealth. But to achieve that, I must have worked in something that helped me amass all these things. Therefore, I didn't waste a lot of time studying what's irrelevant and then restudying in the marketplace. So let's spend time in the first 20 years of life, or first 16, or whatever they are, studying what's relevant, so that it takes a shorter time for somebody to get to a certain midlife point where they've made relevant decisions and they can now start working on their path to wealth. Yeah, that's my point. That's my approach.
That's deep. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Okay, the question as whether we should let our children do what they want to do or first get us a degree and go and pursue their dreams. Anyhow, I personally believe that you can only be your very best when you're truly, truly pursuing your passion. And I think we have no right as parents to determine the passions of our children. Our work is to understand our children, understand their passion points, and be able to help them navigate life. I think part of the poem we had is I did not just grow up hearing I need to be an engineer because my father is an engineer, and engineers are cool, they are scientists, But I also grew up knowing that failure is a taboo. How do you fail? That's why for us, even when you had an 85, you were beaten because possibly you've declined by 1 point, you know, in school. That's the kind of school we grew up, we were raised in. So I think for me, we actually have learned better that it's okay to fail. And we need to let our children know that it's actually okay to fail. What is important is, what do you learn from that moment of failure? How do you learn to fail forward? And the things we've learned much later in life, that actually that moment of failure could be the biggest lesson in life for you to become a better person, to become the best you, or to become the best that you can possibly be. So I think for me, allowing our children to discover, supporting them to, sometimes they may be, one day they're passionate about one thing, tomorrow they're telling you, oh, now I want to be this, because there's that phase in life where it's not very clear. But just patiently walking the journey with them and supporting them and letting them know that whatever they choose to do, you you support them. And I think for me, that's really the role of us as parents. And we are learning on the job. We are learning to take away the historical mindsets that we've always known and realize, no, we're in a different world. By the way, some of the so-called skills that are the right skills, or we would say most paying skills, it didn't exist at the time. We don't even know them. I don't think the children of tomorrow are going to be doing what we're doing today. There are totally new skills coming up in this whole digital era, in whole revolution. There's just so much. I didn't know all those investigative journalism. I don't know what. So there's just too much going on. And I think for me, the future is unfolding with even more skills. I was reading an article on what are some of the skills of the leader that is needed for tomorrow. And I was thinking, wow, you've come from a place where sometimes the best leaders were leaders who are leading through authority. Boss Agambi, boss has said, but I think, the best leader today is the leader who can lead through influence. So then, how do you learn how to influence your people to deliver and over deliver your results, not boss them around? So I think for me, just understanding the dynamics and letting people go with the flow, because things are changing and changing really fast. So we just need to support these kids.
Probably what I forgot to explain through the journey I was speaking about. When I meant the end justifies the means, I I forgot to explain the situation of errors. In the eras of our grandfathers or great grandfathers, it was a question of how big his land is and how big the farm is and how well you can be a farmer, and that's it. Because there's nothing else going on. It's hand to mouth, and that's it. So you have so many children, more labor, etc. And then there comes the next generation where they were learning the blue collar jobs, how to be support to the white collar jobs where they're mostly taken by the whites and people that were there before. And then there's also getting into the white collar jobs. And then if each era has its own dynamics. And then now we're in a digital era. And there's many other types of skill sets that can be paying. So the point is, if you're locked into one mindset and you're only thinking about how it worked in 1930, then right now you'd think, if my son didn't do this, they won't succeed. It's because that's all you know, and you're not evolving with the time. So yes, I won't blame you for the fact that you want your son to succeed, but there's many other paths. At the end of the day, you want to get to Entebbe. You could use the expressway, you could use the old Entebbe road, but you want to get to the airport anyway. So at the end of the day, it comes down still to the end. The end is you want them to be wealthy, you want them to be happy, and so on, but understand that there's an error. So if your son wants to do it through a different way, and that's his passion, that's what he's going to be skilled into, and he's going to do it to his best, I'd suggest you support them and make sure they are the best at whatever they set out to do.
If I may just add quickly, besides the skill and letting them choose what they want to be, I think for me what is critical as a parent, just help them to have the right values. Because the issue of value for me is very important. It's the values that will take them to their destination, whatever the destination will be. Just support them in nurturing the right values. Whatever else they choose to do, this will be their foundation. And that should really be my role as a parent. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. And let me wrap it up with a story. So I'm a journalist, so I always tell stories. I was in Arusha 2 weeks back. I was moderating the annual East African Youth Summit, which is the ULEAD Summit. So off the side chat, we were we went and had dinner, and one of the friends brought a 16-year-old over dinner and said, "You know what? I brought this young man to meet all of you because it was me, Joy, Doreen, Bira, and other people in the room to just share his story." I was like, "Go ahead, young man." The man said, "I don't want to go to university." First of all, that shocked me. And he's like, "I have a passion to do bioengineering. Already, I've come up with a prototype to do an incubator, baby incubators. So my father wants me to go to university, but I want to go to this school that does engineering, practical engineering and solutions. And Tanzania has a center of excellence where they are nurturing, this. So he said, I don't want to waste my time at university. Very brilliant young man. I just want to be enrolled into the Tanzania Institute of Engineering and start working with my prototype, and I grow it better and better and better. My dad says I need a degree first, then I can go to the engineering school. And I am stressed. I don't know what to tell my father. So I remember looking at this young man with the passion and zeal in his eyes, and him saying, I just want to go and develop this thing. And, I want to finish it and develop. I love developing. I want to do this thing. He was all out there for that. But the dad says, first go and do a degree, then come back. Now, along the way, when you're doing your whole degree, I don't know what can happen during that time. But part of me then started thinking, how about we support this child in the direction that he is in and let him grow into that? I think that's what developed countries are doing. China, the US, you find Chinese children, they're doing microchips, they're doing prototypes of these robots. They're into robotics, they're into this and that, and they're supporting them in that very skill set to grow it and nurture it better. So do we need a mindset change in our curriculum? My thinking is yes, especially with what Michael has said, that the times are changing. The times are changing and we need to move with the times. And we need, as parents, like Flavia was saying, support them to grow their skill set, and as well teach them values. I'm a father of 4. So I have this firstborn girl. The other day I was sitting with my wife and was saying, what do we do with this girl? She loves singing and dancing. So all you see her after doing her classes in the morning, she's out there training in moves. Move 1, 2, 3. Then she breaks. Then she goes forward, backwards. Even when they're not there. And she likes singing. She's just holding a bottle and trying to sing and getting the voice. So I said, what do we do? Because the mother wants her to be a captain. So like, study hard. You're going to be a flight captain one day. This girl is actually holding microphones, moving steps and teaching the brothers, 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards. And like, okay, is she going to be a dancing captain or something? Can we find that middle ground? Over to you, Apollo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Solomon. We are winding up, and Solomon, I just want to invite you to take up your panel in the having their closing remarks. Then I have homework. Remember, I'm the headmaster here, so homework. Changing my curriculum is not an option here, but homework for the Solomon. Just
I actually actually thought that we had wrapped up, but I'll give each of us a minute to wrap it up. Again, since the headmaster has given us an extra minute, I'll start with you, Flavia. What's your, what's your conclusion for this conversation?
Okay, I guess I will tell a story, but I'll be brief. So, somebody very close to me asked me, "So you're going to talk to at an NSSF webinar? It's about wealth creation. You're an employee. We think people who are in creating real wealth, are doing business and stuff." I told them first, listen. NSSF has been giving us double-digit interest for the last 10 years. Okay. When I started working, I was earning very little money. Over the years, my contribution to NSSF has grown. And guess what? Before they even give me interest, my company is doubling my contribution. Isn't that wealth creation? So when I broke it down, I said, oh, wait a minute, it's actually true. So as an employee, just by doing your job and growing in your career, you're creating your wealth because you have experts like NSSF and many others that are actually growing your money. So for you who is out there and you're still employed and wondering, am I a businesswoman? Am I in the boardroom? Will I actually really create wealth? That's just one of the obvious avenues. This year they gave us 12 point, is it 7 or yeah, over 12%. I've never forgotten 2018, which has been the highest for us. So for me, every year I'm tracking how is my money doing with NSSF. So if you're employed, you actually are creating wealth. That's just one of the channels that you're actually creating your wealth. So thank you so much. I want to encourage all of you out there to just have the right disciplines and do the right thing. Money will follow you. Thank you.
Flavia Nabasa, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Flavia. Michael Uma.
I'll go back to the verse that I always use whenever I'm asked to have some closing remarks about something. Whatever you put your hands to, do it well. Do it well. Do it exceptionally well. Like Flavia said, that's your best marketing tool. If I do something great, Flavia, Apple, and Solomon say, without Michael Oma, this is not going to happen. If you say it to one, she says it to another him, that's 6 people. And then 12, and then 24, and the story keeps going. So if you do something to the best of your ability, you're going to get there.
May I just interrupt? We said a verse, I actually cracked at a verse that really makes my day when it comes to wealth. It's in Proverbs, my best book when I'm reading with the boys, 24, that says, a little slumber, a little sleep, and the folding of hands to rest, and poverty knocks at your door like a thief. That verse for me just shows the true essence of hard work and diligence towards wealth creation. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Can
Solomon.
I wrap it up? Head
Please,
teacher,
please,
before-
please. I
Headmaster.
also wanted to interrupt. You see, the way you interrupted at UBC, breaking news. I thought this was my moment. I'm also making it into breaking news. But Solomon, over to you,
Yeah.
Solomon.
No, I think that for me, wrapping up both what Flavia and Michael are saying is you need to put your skill out there for people to see. You have an opportunity, use it. Don't sing in the bathroom because you'll be your own audience and your own fan. When you get the opportunity, sing to the world and make sure you please that audience, and then tell the world that you pleased that audience. I agree with what Flavia is saying, that when you do your job well, you do it perfect, it will lead you to the next customer. But it's just okay for you to make noise about your success. So when you go out there and sing to the world and the whole crowd is cheering you up, share that success and let the whole world know that you did well. Thank you.
Do not apologize for success. Never apologize for your success. When you're moving around there and you're exceptional, say it. I'm exceptional. Don't mind people will say that one's just being proud. No, but you are exceptional. You have no alternative. You need to never apologize for your success. Today we have learned that a mother of boys is telling us about wealth. Solomon, my team thinks you are a last born. Are you a last born?
I am actually first.
But we have one thing we have learned is you are Judge's boy.
Grandma's boy.
Yes. And the pastor's son that cracks out the entire world. So we have learned this today, and I'm grateful that we are here. One thing that I pick up here and I tell people that if you are failing at your employment, don't even venture out in business. Because at employment, you have given and you have a supervisor, you even have someone to look up for your welfare, to pay you. There's someone paying you. There's an advocate in legal looking at your human rights and they're not violated. There is occupational health, all those things. And with all those, and you're not delivering at your workplace, don't think you will become wealthy when you go to a place where you're unsupervised, where you are the board of directors, where you are your own occupational health, something, you are your own legal, you are your own everything. If you are not delivering at your workplace, please don't try. Continue robbing your employer, continue stealing from them, don't delivering and them paying you. Do not go out there. It becomes very, very bad. Thank you so much this evening for gracing us with this. It's been a light, I can say, a light and candid discussion. We expected, someone was saying Michael Uma will fall from the ceiling. Then they call you Power Lady. Power Lady will come in and with all her pointers and everything. Then there's Solomon Seranja. There was that whole energy, but you have taken us in a different dimension and you have brought out deep, deep understanding of different things. I am proud to be associated with that. I am the headmaster here and I am everything that they do. It's my training. People, it's my training. It's my training. Thank you so much for listening to us. As NSSF would love to have your feedback. The feedback link is in there. We have quite a number of programs going on. Before we wrap up there, we want to reach out to most of you. We are going to be having business clinics running. We have on Thursday, on Friday, this Friday, yes, we are talking about, not talking, we want those interested, about 20 people. We shall have a date with the Administrator General. We're talking about legacy planning, and we're talking about wills. Yes, we're talking about wills with the Administrator General. He wants 20 people every Friday and he takes them through how to make a will. Michael, you need to make a will. Solomon, you need to make a will. Flavia, you need to make a will. Before we go out, my homework. What's your book? What book do you recommend for our audience and why? I'll start with Flavia.
I could easily recommend what I'm reading right now, How Remarkable Women Lead, but given the audience is I would say start with a why.
Start with a why.
By Sinach.
It's by Sinach.
Sinak,
Start with a why. One of these
Start with
days
a
we
why.
shall start a book club and we shall be reviewing some of these books that the panelists share with us to help all those that read by proxy. Solomon.
I'm currently reading The Mastery. Yeah. Have you read it? Yeah. The Mastery. It's an amazing book. And specifically, I think you may want to pay attention to chapter 3. But it's an amazing book. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm reading. I have a guy who is teaching me to read. Before I never used to want to read a lot. I think now that I'm next to Raymond Mojuni, who reads literally every 5 a.m. So he tells me, set up an alarm at 5 a.m., wake up and read at least a chapter or two. And I'm learning to read. I'm not good at it, like maybe Flavia, but yeah, I'll get there.
Thank you. And Michael?
Well, I liked Rich Dad Poor Dad for the concept of teaching about a legacy and how it's similar to the parable of the talents in the Bible, where you have one talent, two talents, and then you just bury your talent and don't do anything with it. And the situation is you could sit on it or you could trade it and get more from it. So there's that within it. But I don't know what one's religion is, but I would still say the favorite book would be the Bible. Why? There's so many things to learn from there. There's so many stories. Sometimes the stories that they kept teaching us in Sunday school, and you reach a certain point in life, you're like, oh, so this story of Moses taking the children of Israel from the promise from Egypt through the wilderness to the promised land probably means more than just a voyage. There's sometimes in your life where you're so comfortable in your Egypt and there's so many things around, but you need to go through a certain wilderness, and the world beats you, and Pano beats you into your promised land. So yeah, that's just one of the stories in it, but there's many like that. So yeah, I
You,
recommend that.
I need you to hone your skills on being a pastor. You may be missing out on that. Thank you so much. There is a way I don't want to end this. I feel like I need to continue this, but we need to go. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much, Mr. Seranja, Solomon, and thank you so much, Flavia.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, we have had Renzori Walker on Flavia.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's she's a
Marketing
sales
my
director,
brand.
and that's what she does. We never have water here, but we've had it on her. Thank you so much. You can see what skills she has. From my side, thank you so much.
I have to sneak in.
I saw one comment here. I'll just Peter Ndugu. Peter Ndugu has offered that you guys with skills and you need to articulate them on your CV. Please, he has put there a link, a website. Just go to him. I think it's Awesome Investments, and he will help you out and give you CVs or templates that you can use so that you can let your skill be known. Someone is also talking about mindset, that they crowns out all this with mindset, mindset, mindset. Yes, I don't want to add to that mindset. Another one is saying design Django. Hope NSSF gives you a chance. Then you prove to us that you are honing your skill. Yes, we are going to give them another chance. They have had a quite a bitter pioneer event, but as NSSF, we shall give them a chance, and they will have to prove themselves. Thank you so much, everyone that is listening in, and thank you so much for everyone that puts in the time, puts in the energy. Thank you, my back office team. I usually ask them, what book are you reading? And they are reading, most times they are reading either a notice board or a billboard. But thank you so much for everyone that is listening to us. And until we catch you next time, thank you. Have a great, great evening.